I am David Langston, now in my 56th year. If you told me 8 years ago that I would be sitting down to write this, not for the pity party, not as part of the healing process, but simply because I wanted to get it off my chest, I would have laughed. I used to think time heals all wounds, but now I see that in most cases time reveals all. 8 years ago, after more than 20 years of marriage, my then-wife Marlene and I went through a difficult divorce. She was 46, I was 48 at the time. We have a daughter, Emma, who was celebrating her 20th birthday with the news of the divorce. After we divorced, Emma made her decision and it wasn't in my favor. The number I was blocked and every way of communication I tried was blocked too. The last words she ever spoke to me before going completely no contact were, "Mom has said all I need to know about you." As I attempted to be available, I called and messaged and even emailed. Once I waited outside her college dorm for hours, hoping I might see her when she left for the day. Instead, she has security come and have me kicked out. The message was clear: keep out. I was devastated to the core. It was not just the divorce that broke me, it was the sudden removal of the one person I thought would at least want to hear my side. But there was none of that. No questions, not one chance to have my say, nothing, nada, silence. The story Marlene set down portrayed me as the absent and selfish husband, obsessed with my building and my family forgotten. I did work long hours, however. I was the only income earner, and Marlene focused on raising Emma. I was proud of being able to provide them with a comfortable life. But when we argued, she had little difficulty in poisoning Emma's mind against me. In this story, I was the villain. No trial, no jury, just an instant verdict. For the next 8 years, I carried that sadness alone, lost in my work and caring for my mother, who was dying of Alzheimer's. She died a year ago, so I have no family left, and they moved. Standing alone at the cemetery after her funeral, it hit me. I have no one to lean on. No family, no daughter. And then, 2 months ago, the phone rang, and a hesitant voice said, "Hi, Dad." I nearly dropped the phone. It was Emma. I hadn't heard her voice in almost 10 years and did not recognize it at first. It sounded so much older, softer, and more guarded. She'd noticed a post online about my grandmother's passing and wanted to check in on me. I was surprised to know she still followed any part of my life. I thanked her for calling and for how much I was missing her. She proposed we meet for dinner to discuss it, and we agreed on the following Saturday at my house. In anticipation, I cleaned the house as though royalty were coming to inspect it. I made her favorite meal, shrimp Alfredo, and I even bought flowers. Not for her, but to grace my dining table, almost as if to signal that I still had people in my life. She had come on time, and when I opened the door and saw her after 8 years, it was as though time had folded in on itself. She looked like her mother, but in some ways I could see the little girl I once used to carry on my shoulders. I choked back the tears as I hugged her. Dinner went well. We chatted like two shy friends catching up and not like a father and daughter who were seeing each other for the first time. That's the opportunity I appreciate, truly. Finally, I mustered enough courage to put into words the question that had been stuck in my throat for close to a decade. Why did you never ask for my side of the story? Her eyes dropped and she answered meekly, "I was afraid." Mom said stuff and I believed it. I didn't know any better, and I guess I didn't want to know any better. She apologized and said she was sorry and embarrassed. I really wanted to believe her, but some instinct told me that something was wrong. The conversation changed, and I asked why she was contacting me now. That was when she dropped the news of her engagement a couple of months earlier. She was strapped for cash and had been waiting to hear from the lawyers about her grandmother's inheritance. But when that didn't materialize, she made me a new offer. I did my best to continue to nod along until, finally, it was my turn. She was uncomfortable at the idea of asking, but her grandmother had assured her that she would leave everything to her as her only grandchild, and she wanted to verify that that was still in play. "Anything you can give would be so helpful," she added, a nervous smile spreading across her face. "The wedding is going to be huge, and I'm lost, whether one choice is better than another." And so I felt the knife in my back. I had imagined this moment for years, seeing her again, embracing her, stepping back into my role as a father. But the knowledge that I was now only someone who gave her money broke something in me. I informed her that the inheritance had already been designated to me, that Grandma had revised the will, and the money was to start up a small woodworking business. I suggested I could kick in a couple of $1,000s of my own money for her wedding. Her face fell in response, as heavy as a stone dropping into a pond. "That's it?" she asked incredulously. "That's all I have to offer," I said stoically. Her voice suddenly changed, sharp and defensive. "My grandma told me I would get everything." "And you were the one to never went to see her again after the divorce," I replied. Her voice now cracking with anger, she shot back, "You're showing Mom was right about you." I let out a bitter laugh. "And you're proving all my fears about your reasons for coming back." She stood up, flustered. "This is unbelievable. I'm down here to get my thoughts straight and plan out my future, and all you can think about is yourself." I answered, "No. You came out here to see if there was a big payday for you." Her silence spoke volumes. She looked at me as if unable to speak. That's when I let something slip that wiped the misleading guilt from her face. "If you hadn't blocked me years ago, you would have gotten the messages. You would be aware that your grandmother is unwell, have gotten to see the women one more time. Maybe then she would have kept her word to you." She stood frozen, shaken. "What messages?" Her voice wavered as she asked. "Unblock my number," I told her, and I forwarded every single one of them. The messages where I begged her to talk to me, where I updated her on her grandmother's condition, and where I asked her to say goodbye before the funeral. Heavy was the silence that came after. And at last, "I didn't know." "You didn't want to hear," I said. There was a moment of silence in which I rose to my feet. "I don't hate you, Emma. I probably never could. But I don't trust you, and love without trust is not love at all." She was about to answer, but I held up my hand to silence her. "I'd spent 8 years missing you, grieving you, even though you weren't dead. But I'm done mourning. This waiting is over, and I'm finished being the father of someone who only acknowledges me when it benefits him, money or otherwise." With that, she stormed away without another word. I was in my silent home again, but standing there alone at last. 3 days later, Emma stormed out, and I got a call from someone I hadn't heard from in years, Marlene. I was almost certain it was a prank. I stared at the screen, her name ghosting. I let it go to voicemail. She called again the next morning and again that night. On the 4th ring, I answered it. Not because I was curious, but because I was tired of fleeing. I was tired of just listening to them tell the story and not speaking. "David," she said, her voice measured, almost soft. "Can we talk?" I remained silent. "I know I'm the last person you want to hear from." "You're right," I said. There was silence on the other side. She took a breath. "Emma came home upset. She told me everything." I almost hung up, not wanting to go through it all over again. The idea of listening to Marlene try to weasel the truth out one more time had me strumming, but something inside me counseled me, so I listened. "Hear her out. Finish it," I told myself. "She said you had offered her money, and she had said no." I snorted in disbelief. "It wasn't exactly like that." She paused again. "You're right. I can tell when she's lying, but that's not why I called." "Then why are you calling, Marlene?" I pressed. "I want to apologize." That stopped me. I was momentarily speechless for a second there. This time, 8 years too late, I was able to say, I know. Dana, I ruined you, she continued, her voice cracking. I said to myself it was deserved, that you were contrary and unfeeling and didn't give a fuck about us. Your image was already that of the bad guy by the time I was through, and it simply made it easier for Emma to stay with me. So you admit it? I asked. I do. I was angry and bitter. I didn't want that woman to leave me. And I knew that if she had a choice, if she heard your side, she would have chosen other than me. She would have, I affirmed. I would never have had her turn against you. I know, she whispered. I sank back into my chair and looked out the kitchen window at the serene backyard. The wind whistled softly among the trees, like on the night Emma had come over. The worst part? Do you know what it was? I started, pausing for a second to consider it. It wasn't the lies or even the losing of the house or half of my savings. It was seeing my daughter just erase me as if I wasn't anybody that raised her, as if every bedtime story, every scraped knee, every Christmas morning didn't matter. I'm sorry, David, Marlene replied softly. I really am. I should have been vindicated instead. I just felt tired. I had pleaded with her to see me for years. You said I was stalking her. You threatened to sue me. I know, she admitted. That's the part I regret the most. I weaponized her. I didn't think about the long-term costs to her or to you. I shut my eyes, inhaling deeply once more. Why are you really calling? I asked. This cannot be simply about guilt. She hesitated. Emma still has a feeling that she deserves something. She believes your mother pledged it to her. She did, I replied. Before the divorce, before Emma cut me out, before she let 8 years of messages go and came calling with her hand out. I know she did you wrong, Marlene added, but she's your daughter. No, I corrected her calmly. She's your daughter. You brought her up to think I'm a monster, and now you're asking me to pay for a wedding to some man who has never in his life held down a full-time job. Marlene fell silent. I'd even given her money, more than she deserved, all things considered, but it wasn't the question of what was fair. It was a question of finding out whether any of that little girl still lurked in her. She didn't. I don't want it to end like this, Marlene said. You'll regret it when you get older. I laughed bitterly. You think I haven't spent the last 8 years regretting things? Emma asked me to come and see if I could talk to you, to let you know she's sorry and she was young. She caught herself and added, I twisted everything. She mentioned that already, I replied. But it doesn't rebuild 8 years. Sorry. It doesn't erase silence. It doesn't turn manipulation into love. She's still your blood, Marlene protested. I walked to my mother's old china cabinet, the one Emma used to sneak behind during games of hide and seek. I looked at it for a long time. You know what's the worst part, Marlene? I would become everything for her. Not just my money, but my time, my love, my forgiveness. I waited for her to come back, and now that she has, I see it plainly. She came for the money, not me. She misses you, David. No, I replied. She doesn't have what I can give her. A long silence followed. She's destroyed, Marlene said. So was I said, stunned by what she had said. There was another pause before she said something surprising. I don't want money for her. All I need to know is, do you hate her? No, I answered honestly. But I also don't know her anymore. The one I saw last week doesn't love me. She loves what I bring her. A lost opportunity, business, a financial solution, money, and a name I can write on a check. I sighed. I always get under when it's convenient. With that, I ended the call. A few days later, a letter came in the mail. No return address, just my name scrawled in handwriting I knew. Enclosed was a picture of a 5-year-old Emma, sitting on my shoulders, grinning with her pigtails streaming in the wind. There was also a brief note. I don't know how to fix what I broke. Maybe I never can. but you were the best dad. I'm sorry I didn't know that sooner. No solicitation for funds, no reference to the wedding, just this genuine recognition. I put the photo on the mantle, but I didn't call her. Not because I was mad or being petty, but because I'd finally realized something truly deep. Forgiveness doesn't actually mean reconnection, and sometimes walking away is the only way to heal.